Let's travel back in time, about 2,500 years ago, to the lush mango groves of ancient India. The Buddhist teachings are taking hold, and you'd think his most profound students would all be monks and nuns, right? People who'd left everything behind. But what if I told you one of his absolute wisest disciples wasn't a monk at all? What if he was just a regular guy?
Yep, that's the incredible story we're diving into. We're going to explore a figure who completely flips our expectations of what a master of wisdom looks like. A man named Citta, who is a simple householder.
So Citta lived in a town called Cittasaṃyutta, and by all accounts, he was a successful, respected family man. But here's the kicker. This lay follower had such a deep, intuitive grasp of the teachings that even senior ordained monks were often totally floored by his insights.
And that brings us to our first story, which honestly plays out like a brilliant philosophical riddle. One day, a group of very senior monks are having a debate, and they are completely and utterly stuck on a problem.
The question they were wrestling with was all about the nature of a fetter, or in the Pali language, Samyutta. I mean, what is it that actually chains us to the endless cycle of stress and suffering? It's a huge question, right?
So you can imagine them going back and forth. Is the problem our eye, which sees things, or is the problem the things themselves? Is my ear the real fetter, or is it the sounds that I hear? They just couldn't land on an answer. And right into the middle of this confusion walks our guy, Citta the householder.
Citta listens patiently to all this, and then he just offers this beautiful, simple analogy. He says, okay, imagine a black ox and a white ox are tied together with a yoke. Now, is the black ox the fetter for the white one, or is the white ox the fetter for the black one? And of course, the monks say, well, neither. The real fetter is the yoke that binds them together. And with that, Citta had them exactly where he needed them.
And then he connects the dots for them. Look, the eye isn't the problem, and the things you see aren't the problem either. The black ox and the white ox are totally fine on their own. The real fetter, the yoke, is the chandarago, that spark of desire and lust that flares up when the senses meet the world. So the problem isn't the parts of the equation, it's our reaction to them. It's the craving.
But Citta's insight goes so much deeper. He doesn't just stop at personal craving. He uses this exact same razor-sharp logic to slice right through to the root of all the philosophical arguments and wrong views that cause so much confusion in the world. He explains that all these complicated debates, is the world eternal or not? Are the soul and body the same? They all come from one single mistake, sakkayadishti, or what we call identity view. It's that deep gut feeling that inside all this change, our body, our feelings, our thoughts, there's a solid, permanent me. And once you cling to that idea of a self, well, you have to build up all these other views to defend.
But here's what's so important to understand about Citta. His wisdom wasn't just theoretical. He wasn't just some guy who was good at winning debates. No, his understanding was forged in the fire of his own direct personal experience. So check this out. One day, a really famous spiritual leader from a different tradition, Nigantha, comes to town. He's heard about this wise householder, and he's skeptical. So he challenges Citta, basically asking him, hey, do you just take it on faith that the Buddha was right? Do you just believe someone can actually quiet their mind so much that even thinking stops?
And Citta's response is just one of the most powerful lines you'll ever hear. He says, no, I don't go by faith on this matter. And why not? Because I can do it. I can enter these states whenever I want. This isn't belief. This is knowledge. It's a lived reality for him.
And he doesn't just say it, he proves it. He describes his ability to enter the 4 jhanas, these incredibly deep states of meditation. He explains exactly how he moves from a state of stillness that still has some thought to a state of stillness that is completely without it. I mean, that's the difference between just believing a map exists and having actually walked every inch of the trail yourself.
And if you really want to see the power of Citta's wise path, just compare his story to that of his childhood friend, Kassapa. Kassapa chose the path of extreme asceticism, like severe self-denial for 30 long years. And after all that time, he admitted he'd gained absolutely nothing, but in his words, nakedness and a shaven head. Meanwhile, Citta, living as a householder for those same 30 years, had become a non-returner, a profoundly enlightened being. It just goes to show, it's not about how harsh your practice is, it's about how wise it is.
This incredible wisdom was Citta's compass through his entire life, right up to the very, very end. And in his final moments, he gives us what might be his most profound teaching of all.
So as Citta lay dying, the story goes that these divine beings or deities appeared to him. They were so blown away by his virtue that they offered him the ultimate prize. They said, just make a wish. Wish to be a great world-ruling king in your next life, and we will make it happen. Talk about a final temptation.
But see it, even at death's door, was completely unshaken. He just looked at these celestial beings and replied, that too is impermanent. That too is unstable. That too must be left behind. Wow. He saw right through the ultimate worldly fantasy because he knew that even the greatest power imaginable is still temporary and ultimately can't bring lasting happiness.
So instead of wishing for power, he turns to his family and friends gathered around him and gives them his last piece of advice. He doesn't tell them to chase wealth or fame. He tells them to anchor themselves in what is truly reliable, confidence in the Buddha, his teachings, the community, and in the simple, powerful act of generosity.
You see, the story of Citta the householder is such a powerful reminder that real wisdom isn't just found in monasteries or on remote mountaintops. It can be grown, cultivated, and perfected right in the middle of our messy, complicated everyday lives. So the question his story really leaves us with is this: wisdom can be found anywhere. So where will you find yours?